Facts. Here for the people, Lorette, Lord to respect. But with that being said, I wanted to bring this talk and more concentrate from the beginning and up to this point. But we're not going to get all in this one time. So what I'm going to start at to let people know that the first contract and one of the most important things, and I'm telling you this, is to know that you have the right to life and to right to contract. Everything that you do in life, you're basically contracting, whether you know or not. Whether you're in a relationship, whether you're at work, whether you're signing a check, whether you're going to the grocery store. Everything that you do, you're contracting. You're making an agreement one way or another. All right. You don't do anything without an agreement or without somebody give you willpower to do so. So with that being said, I'm gonna try to turn it in because everything correlates like more of an onion and there's many layers. But that the point of the matter is all those layers correlate to one thing to make that onion. So it depending on how you view and your perspective of life is depending how far you're gonna understand or overstand in your own perspective of what I'm going to bring to the forefront today and what I'm going to speak and teach. You bring more to your perspective because I can bring it to your awareness, but it's up to you to understand it. So I can't really teach. I can't really teach you anything. You really taught yourself, as no one taught a baby how to walk, but only showed them the steps. But you actually understand that and took that into your own willpower. Nobody can force one to believe or to change one's truth because there's no wrong or right. Truth becomes one truth when one understands or bestow it. So with that being said, we're going to get in, y'all. I just had to let y'all know a little something. So look, as you can see, it's a little dark. I had to get this little artificial light right now. It's 12:49. I'm up late real quick, you feel me? I be up all the time. We don't got a schedule over here. Oh yeah, first I want to start off with this as well because it correlates to what I'm going to get into. Let me correlate. Sorry y'all, I forgot to do this. Fill up the top. Do some more. All right, y'all. So look, as you can see, this was actually something written that was in a private meeting with Cardinal Edward Manhouse, which was a legendary private broker, in private meeting with President Woodrow Wilson in 1913 and 1921. And as you know, this is around the time where World War One had happened, if you know, it was tuned in with history. So certain events was put in place to conduct a more broader future, more broader scheme or form of order, but it has to start somewhere. And sometimes these things that people try to do takes time and generations and years of oppression and deceive and illusions. All right, because in time truth dies. Until one brings it up. As well as we die, as well as truth and life springs. So look, I'm gonna read it for y'all. As much as this article originated in the United States and we yet to verify its source, so take that in consideration for you skeptics. I don't think an individual has to stretch their mind very far to see that the same concept has found its way into Canada and around the world. Sometimes by looking at the simplicity of the illusion, we can shed some light on the complexity of emotions we feel. Colonel Edward Manhouse, a legendary power broker in a private meeting with Woodrow Wilson, President 1913-1921. Very soon, every American will be required to register their biological property. That's you and your children. You are in a national system designed to keep track of people and that will operate under an ancient system of pledging. Hold that thought. Remember, pledging. We adapted here in America Roman laws, Roman ways, as well as people go to that alpha beta stuff in school and college fraternities. You're making a pledge. This is kind of you're adapting their culture. It was never meant for colored people or indigenous natives to adapt and become and pledge to something that's not part of your heritage. I just want to put that out there for you men and women. By such mythology, we can compel people to submit to our agenda, which will affect our security as a chargeback for our fiat paper currency. Every American will be forced to register or suffer being able to work and earn a living. They will be our chattels, property, and we will hold the security interest over them forever. By operating of the law merchant under the scheme of secure transactions, Americans, by unknowingly or unwittingly delivering the bills of lading to us, will be rendered bankrupt and insolvent, secured by their pledges. Now, those who don't know what bill of lading are, that is considered your birth certificate. A birth certificate is considered a bill of lading, or chattel, or a letter, or a will, or a deed. It depends what jurisdiction you're in, and we're going to get later into jurisdiction in this video. They will be stripped of their rights and given commercial value designed to make us a profit, and they will be none the wiser, for not one man in a million could even figure our plans. And if by accident one or two should figure it out, we have in our arsenal plausible deniability. After all, this is the only logical way to fund the government, by floating liens and debts to registrants in the form of benefits and privileges. So those on welfare, those on that's receiving benefits, Social Security, veteran, all these benefits that's coming from the government. They're basically saying you're unresponsible and are unwittingly responsible to take care of your affairs, and they're taking your birth certificate, which is on secure paper, and they're trading on the stock market and using you as collateral. But I'm gonna do a full thing after this. That's what I should have did in the beginning. But as I go, as we learn, as we all. This will inevitably reap a huge profit beyond our wildest expectations and leave every American a contributor to this fraud, which we would call social insurance, that's Social Security, without realizing that every American will unknowingly be our servant. However, begrudgingly, the people will become helpless and without any hope for the redemption, and we will employ the high office of a dummy corporation and foment this plot against America. So therefore, we are here on America. So the base of this letter right here, that was taking place in a private meeting between these two powerful people. We had to register by law in 1933. They filed for bankruptcy, and we was required, as right here they put in the law, we had required to turn in all our gold and all our silver. You can look it up. I know people that are still alive that have went through this, and we are made from the land, so we actually carry access of the land. So they actually created a birth certificate of a government name, an instrument, an issue, and they issued a security, and they secured it by us, by our body, and they bonded our souls. That's why in the doctors they take the blood and they from the sole of our feet, and they can go to the scripture of Job when the serpent when he stepped on the snake's head and the serpent snapped his heel. You know what I'm saying? The serpent represents the hospital with the staff of Moses with two snakes. And in the hospital, the fruit had been born from the tree of knowledge, and now we have been stripped from the. I'm not gonna go that deep real quick, but the serpent had bit, so so they take our blood from our foot, the soul. That's why it's called your soul, and they bond it to the paper. That's why it's called bond, and they bond our soul to the paper. So that's like our birthright, and then they had captured it, and because they figured out a scheme of fraud. We have to register our body, our property, our children in the newspaper and claim it as property and secure it as a transaction, as an asset, because now they filed for bankruptcy, and the only way to fund the government is by the people and as a debtor, as a debtor. And this goes back in the parable of the Bible. But when we get back to the basis, we get all this. We got eternity for this, y'all. We got eternity for this. But I don't want to really read this. But I'm gonna read a little bit of this because the people need it. This is very deep and unfortunately very true. This is a heavy piece, and a Caucasian wrote it. And I agree with, look, I'm gonna tell you what I agree on. I don't care if y'all have hurt feelings, because if it's your feelings hurt, then you are in that boat. And if it's hurt, pay attention, because now you have awareness that this hurt, that hurts you. So take time and use that emotion and change with the movement. Move in a direction to change the vibration. They are still our slaves. We can continue to reap. Hold on, let me smoke a blunt for y'all real quick. Let me just hit this real quick. 420 are friendly on this channel, but I gotta spark this up. Y'all might have to want to spark this up too if y'all smoke. If y'all 420 friendly, y'all might want to spark one up. If you black, if you represent black, which I don't even like using that word because you're not black, and that's an identity title that they stole and given y'all. Cause I don't like using black. I'm native to the land, you know what I'm saying? Indigenous. But look, we can continue to reap profits from the blacks without the effort of physical slavery. Look at the current methods of containment that they use on themselves: ignorance, greed, and selfishness. If I read a little fast, I'm going to kind of read fast just to keep on. But I just had to spark it up just a little bit. Their ignorance is a primary weapon of containment. A great man once said, the best way to hide something from black people is to put it in a book. We now live in an information age. They have gained the opportunity to read any book of any subject of efforts of their fight for freedom. Yet they refuse to read. There are numerous books readily available at Borders and Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Not to mention their own black bookstores that provided sold blueprints to each economic equality, which should have been in their fight all along, but few read consistently, if at all. Do y'all agree? I agree. Come on. The ignorance is the primary weapon of the containment of a great man once said. The greed is another powerful weapon of containment. Blacks, since the abolition of slavery, have the large amounts of money at their disposal. Last year, they spent $10 billion on Christmas out of their $450 billion in total yearly income. 2.22. I love the numbers. Any of us can use them on our target market. For any business ventures, we can care to dream up, no matter how outlandish they will buy into it. Being primarily a consumer people, they function totally by greed. They continually want more, with little thought for saving or investing. They would rather buy some new sneaker than investing in starting a business. You hear that? Some even neglect their children to have the latest Tommy or Fubu and still think of having Mercedes Benz or big houses give them status, but in these terms, it's foreign clothes status. Foreign clothes. And gives them status, or that they have achieved American dream. They are fools. You hear this? The vast majority of the people are still in poverty because they are agrees and hold them back in a collective, making better communities. With the help of the BET and the rest of the black media that often broadcast destructive images of their own homes, we will continue to see huge profits like those of Tommy and Nike. Tommy Hilfiger has even jeered them, saying he doesn't want their money. And look at how the fools spend more with them than ever before. They continue to show off each other while they sold communities with the profits of our businesses that we market them. Selfishness of ingrained in the minds of slavery in one of the major ways that we continue to contain them. One of their own, Dubai, said that there was no intimate division in their culture. A talented tenth, he called it. He was correct in the deduction that there are segments of their culture that has achieved some form of success. However, that segment missed the fullness of its work. They didn't read that the talented tenth was responsible to aid the non-talented 90% to achieving a better life. Hold that thought. I'm one of them talented tenths. I'm here to try to help those achieve, not just black people, but all, because after this, I'm going to give a little other perspective. But I'm one of them talented tenths. I don't have to be here. I'm doing my part and being a steward of the earth, of my contract, to help others view and get a perspective of their own life, of their own creation. But let me get back to the thing. I love y'all. I got to bring y'all back for real. We got to get them spirits back to what they is. You feel me? But in another class, says instead that a segment has created a D class, a burpee class that looks down on their people or aids them in a consistent manner. They will never achieve what we have. Their selfishness does not allow them to be able to work together on any project or endeavor. The substance, when they do get together, their selfishness lets their egos get in the way of their goal. Their so-called help organizations seem to only want to promote their name without making any real change in the community, that they content to sit the conference and conventions in the hotels to talk about what they do while they award the plaques and best speakers for the best doers. Is there no end to the selfishness? If you hear that noise, it's a train. I'm out in the sunroom, got the windows open, feeling the breeze. You know what I'm saying? It's how we doing it over here. You feel me? Smoking a lazy. But look, back to poverty, all of which under control of our pens and our offices and our rooms. Yes, we will continue to contain them as long as they refuse to read. And we gotta read. That's why I'm reading. I'm trying to out here and read with you, and not even with you, but for you, because I need my people to come out that barrel. I need my people at the door. Read and continue to buy anything they want, and keep thinking they helping the communities by paying dues to organizations which do little for them but lavish conventions in our hotels. By the way, don't worry about them reading this letter. Remember, they don't read. So come on, y'all, read the red letters. Prove them wrong, bruh. I'm here, bruh. I'm here for a face for the community. I'm here to help achieve people to the higher self, all people. You know what I'm saying? We need to be better, and the order to do that is to focus on oneself. But look, y'all. Our job of those with knowledge is to wake those up, to spread the knowledge. I'm giving it for free, y'all. This is spiritual knowledge that's coming down. This can raise your vibrations. For real. This is 1 in a million. What does it say? 1 man in a million. Look at this. Look at this. Does that make me that rare? I'm not trying to say it, but does that make me that much rare? And what makes it more rare is trying to give it to the people, because there's people like myself, you know, my partner Midwest, there's people everywhere that's very rare, that's helping the people, genuine. And it's like everybody don't want the genuine people. Everybody want the non bullshit. Everybody want better, but then you sitting in the same shit. You sitting in the same misery in your own desires, but you want better though. You know who really crazy, bruh? Who really crazy? You know what I'm saying? You gotta ask yourself, who really crazy? Ain't that crazy? How you want better, but then you keep choosing not to be better? You know what I'm saying? And I understand, I overstand, you know, why that goes on, but that's a whole different story. But the purpose of this, I wanted to get that down, y'all, and it's no longer about black. They did this to steal the land. You know what I'm saying? To steal the land, but it goes deeper than that, and it's gonna come back to this. But this is the main part that I was trying to get into. Where is that? I don't know why they closed it. Oh, here we go. Check it out. Check it out, y'all. The history you don't know or think, and I'm taking the time to take this out. Take the time to learn this with y'all 272 pages. Of course, it's not going to be done tonight, but I'm going to get y'all right. Get you something to think about. Now, remember I said one of the best gifts is to be a steward of the earth, is the contract to God. God is the donor. God is the one that created this earth. You feel me? Read it up. Trusts are created when one party, the donor, places an asset in the care of another party, the trustee, for the benefit of a third party, the beneficiary. Now, one's like, what are you talking banking? How are you talking banking and corporate shit? Why? Because the Bible is a banking book. The Bible is also a spiritually book, non-religious. Don't take any religious concept, because you are all the characters in the Bible, right? It gets deep, y'all. But in the terms, God created the earth. And then he created you to be steward and take care of the earth, which will make you that trustee and the earth, the asset, as you can see. So as you're learning this concept, you're also learning banking. So these are working banking words. So now you're becoming a banker, because there's by law, we're all bankers by sovereignty. You know what I'm saying? But you have to create that status. Now you're Adam, the trustee, and you want to create something for your future generations, which will be the beneficiary, your kids and your kids' children. So as people out here working today and trying to get all these trust funds and everything, or just trying to do better for their generations, in this concept, this is what you're doing, and you can't say you're not, because you are, and you've been living this way your whole life, rather you've been thinking of it not. So if you're denying it, you're rejecting it. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. It ain't wrong. It ain't wrong. You don't gotta look at it like this, but in the fact it's like this, it just puts you in these positions. And talk to a banker. If you're a banker, you already know what's up. And then we take our turns. We as children are beneficiaries, and then we grow up to be adults, which we are entrusted to take on some responsibilities. And by the time you become an old elder in that time and space, you see these time and space, these are spaces. So what have you did and created within this time and space? You know, you know, this is just, and then within this time and space, you became an elder, and whatever you created and whatever you have you created within the matter, you leave for your future children because it recycles. You feel me? And your children's children. And so look, it says, let's see, God gave the earth to Adam, Adam gave it to his kids, it all came down to Jesus, who gave it to Peter in his absence, who passed on the responsibility to me. I'm the global trustee, which is Pope Boniface the Eighth. This happened this has happened where it all started when the fraud happened. When he wanted to try to do the birth certificate scheme. You know what I'm saying? So check it out. The global estate is born. The Unum Sanctum, that 1302 creates the World Force Trust, the largest express trust, Boniface III. The Romanus Protex 1455, the First Testimony Trust, the Attorney Regis Secretary Trust, Testimony Trust, the Convocation Third Testimony Trust. All right, now these three. Now with the Pope, if you're familiar with Catholics, they have the three crowns of the trust. Each crown. First it was one, and then it went to two, and then went to three. Each crown represents a trust, and each trust represents a name, and each name is bonded to you. But we're going to get deeper later into that, into the name game. Now the trust includes, now these are the jurisdictions, because these jurisdictions plays into how we conduct business now. And now you're gonna learn how to correlate it. The air jurisdiction is for the living and dead souls, spirit, angel, demons, ideas, global, and nature are controlled by the Pope and his appointees, all right? And you're like, how can the Pope control the living and the dead spirits and all that? Well, in the beginning, like back to the birth certificate, by them having you register the name and the parents having, if you look at your birth certificate, it calls your mother and father an informant because they inform the government with your information, which that information was privately owned by you, and they did it without your permission, and they didn't register it not knowing. So they pretty much are informants, and we failed from the beginning. And and when they register it, now we operate in a government name. So they register the name instead of us. So now we're operating and leasing their property. So a name could be a property under the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution of persons, because person is also considered property or estate, and we can get into the Black's Law. You know what I'm saying? So back to this, the sea jurisdiction, all vessels, mariners, sailors, merchants, creatures of the sea are international natures and are controlled by the British monarchs. You know what I'm saying? The land jurisdiction, all resources of the land, including people, animals, plants, and minerals, and nature of the earth, are controlled by the Spanish king, if there is one. The laws, forms, each jurisdiction has its own laws and forms. The jurisdiction of the air has only 3 laws. Keep the peace, do unto as you would have them do unto you, so long as it does not take away another freedom, life, property, or do other such harm. Do what you like and let others enjoy their free will. And remember, the air jurisdiction right here controls the living and dead. So it depends what status are you operating on, depending on what law forms required of you. But also, there is also other laws of the land and the sea, and they're different flags. National law is American flag, silver flag with the vertical stripes. It doesn't have the yellow fringes like the military. All right, military people look at the flags. It's yellow fringes. That means it's war flag, amateur law. Law of the sea, U.S. citizens fly the war flag with stripes of horizontal. Come on, y'all. Didn't I just say that? You know what I mean? Come on. And then this is public law. The states, commerce, attorneys, and private law. This is where mostly everybody's at. The dead, considered dead in legal sense, legalese. Look up dead. We gonna do all that. This is the international sea. This is when we go to court. This is when they be towing our car. These are the police. These are the corporations right here. These are the dead. These are the dead. All right, but they're operating on the land. It's called a sea merchant. Postal services. This is everything. Medical. This is everything within the state. Police services, medical, welfare, insurance. I'm gonna kind of skip through it. I know y'all might not understand it, but I'm just skipping through it because I'm gonna teach you guys this more through, you know what I'm saying, as we go on. And I'm just trying to get you to the main purpose. It's 111, 111. The numbers is talking to me. I'm doing my thing, so I'm gonna continue to pursue. The ancestors are speaking through me through numbers. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's on your own beliefs. But I'm just saying. Okay. So all this was done being accomplished at a global estate trust more than 200 years before the American Revolution. This is Rome. This is the Vatican. All right. Remember, this little thing right here is ancient right here. This is symbolism. The circle and all. This is all symbolism. The trust is the largest corporate congregate and interlocking trust decorated decorated on Earth with the four administration hubs operate as independent international city-states. This trust operates out of the Vatican, Westminster, Washington, D.C., and United Nations. And they're like, Washington, D.C.? Of course, Washington, D.C. is one of the branches and act as the military here on United States, and that's why they police. That's why they govern. And I'm not talking about the federal, all right? I'm talking about the fraud shit. Well, federal damn near fraud too now. But the inner city as London, rest of it operate as legal and banking services. So this is the money people. These are the people. This is where the money is going through right here. Washington D.C. is the D.C. Municipality operates defense services. This is the shit that you see that's going on right now. The United Nations provide trade, treaty, negotiation, and service of members. That's the United Nations. When you be seeing the United Nations having a meeting, so they're always negotiating treaties with negotiation with other countries and other world leaders. These independent cities and states together create the empire of the city, but it's really an empire of global state trust. So they're acting as a city, but the city could also, that could be the name, but could be a trust. So they're really private. But in the public, it acts as a trust. So nobody owns it, but it's being controlled. All property and assets are controlled by the trust, which a trust really is not like, it has no liability. Well, you don't have no liability. And we are all part of it, whether you like it or not, for the past 700 years. And we've been enslaved to this trust because by claiming us as property, by being required to and bonding our souls to the bonds, they are trading on the market and they're capitalizing it and collecting the interest and collecting the interest. And when it's really supposed to be doing it for us because it's ours. It derived from the principle. There was no government name, no government property if we was never here. All right. So the global trust states come to America, 1492 to 1776. When did the constitutions be implemented? I don't gotta bring that up. Private investment of the advancements, the king, the crown, the investors. The dance of the public and private begins. Now we do private and public, which is Caesar and under God. During these large commercial investment companies formed the World Privileges Corporation throughout England for the purpose of developing land and researches of North American continent. So eager were English investors for new opportunities that the monarch invested company had to establish investment districts throughout England to assign colonial territories to investors in each district of London. I'm not going to read all this. So I'm just going to go through all this. But thus we had the Virginia Company and the New England Company. All right, the Virginia Company is 1606. Look it up. Was it the Virginia or the London Company? It might have been the London Company. I got it. But London Company is New England. Okay, hold on. Private and large-scale banking of back and organization of the New World. Most investors, because the London Company was the one that was the corporation that came from over there by the king. Look right here, the France right here. Yeah, they came together and they basically tried to come here and colonize America and claimed it and try to claim it under Christianity. That's how Christianity also was brought around here. That Christianity shit ain't our shit, y'all. And most people, the natives or colored people, black people, are in the churches worshiping some shit that's not even your culture. To be real with you. To be 100% real with you. But I'm going to go through this real quick. I'm going to skip a little bit. The government uses the military to support and promote commerce, commercial expansion, and commercial expansion pays for the government and military. So the government pays military, military protects commercial interests, and commercial interest funds the government. You see how that goes around? Do y'all get it? Like, what's commercial interest? Commercial interest is everything that we commit. We're going, everything we do outside of our homes is we're doing commerce. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got licenses, degrees, bachelors, PhDs. That's commercial interest. Now the military protects the assets that funds the government, and the government pays the military. So it goes in a cycle. And by us not registering, and we're using the government's name because we abandoned our property by not registering our children or yourself. or your parents did that actually, and we never learned it. Now that they claimed it, they had to create this to protect their assets. We're assets, y'all. Yeah, it's not a joke. Do another video. We're gonna look through the burst, fidelity, show you. I can give you a website, look your social up, and you're gonna see you're worth billions of dollars, and all these commercial entities are investing in you. Yeah, you not you, but your birth certificate, EWE, the sacrificial lamb. This double speak. Yeah, it's get deep. So the commercial page, see, I'm not gonna. You see, though, you kind of pause and read a little bit. You know what I mean? We gonna get down to this it gritty. I got a couple other things. You know what I'm saying? The calling appeared the big first lie. Look, I claim this land in the name of King James the First. Brand, look right here. The colonists pretended the land vacant, opened the claim. They discounted the Indians because they weren't Christian. Look at that, because they weren't Christian, so they claimed the land in the name of Christianity. Let's go deep back to Pocahontas and shit, y'all. To Virginia, Turtle Island and shit. This ain't a joke, y'all. The second big lie. Later, the colonists tried to buy the land from the Indians who told them they didn't own the land owned the people, and all this other bullshit. You know what I'm saying? When you think about it, the Indians had it right. You know what I'm saying? Of course. But it's not Indians. Say natives or American Indians or indigenous. Well, you can say Indian. Yeah, you can say Indian because they try to take Indian out, actually. So, yeah. But we the real Indians, though. Straight up. In a way. Founded on lies and claims is all, look at it. Because the Indians continued their efforts in bringing forth fraud and everybody else's attention, they were deemed enemies of the crown and subject to physical and cultural genocide for 200 years. Do you see that? And everybody keep talking about it's black and all the slavery and all that, and it was because of racism. It wasn't because it's really about racism, y'all. Get it deeper than that. This is our land, people wasn't trying to give this up. People was like, this is our shit. So they trying to hang and kill the truth. You know what I'm saying? They trying to bury the truth with the people, with the dead. Sometimes the dead can speak the truth. You just gotta be in tune. You know what I'm saying? For real. When you really look at it in an aspect and a perspective. This is very other, you know what I'm saying? So look, because false claim, we buy back the right to enjoy assets that were already given to us. Genesis 1:26-28. Those in the middle, the trustees are cheating us and enriching themselves, whether it's the Pope, the King of the Spain, or the state of Ohio. They like state of Ohio. Yes, corporate. Their state of Ohio is fraud under Washington, D.C., the state of, we're supposed to be republic. It's all fraud, y'all, but we're going to get deeper into that. And right here, it gets deeper, man. I'm telling you. Deem enemy as a crown. It wasn't just, it gets deeper because they're here on our land trying to oppress us. And a lot of people think we're from Africa. When it don't make sense. A lot of people are lost. But we're going to get people right on their shoes right in this channel. We're going to get people right with truth, right with love. You feel me? For real. Excuse the thing. It's kind of window. Let me shut the window. Hold on. Let me shut this window. Excuse me, y'all. You know what I'm saying? There's a channel where you could be yourself. There's a channel where you could be yourself. Because ain't nothing wrong with that. Right? Anything else of that is faking. Well, look, men and women and children, they died to bring you this basic truth. They were killed because they knew and they spoke the truth on your behalf as well as their own. Did I not just say that? The trust again. The native makers had their own vision of the trust. In their view, it was simple and obvious. The trust was sacred and belongs equally to all the people. The trust requires our gratitude. Excuse me, y'all. 420 friendly, man. The trust requires the gratitude that we cannot take without giving. The trust requires caretaking. The generation cannot destroy what owned to the next. It is very an adult duty to hand over the trust in the same way or better condition to receive it. Anyone who washes the resources and pollutes the world is viewed like a 2-year-old with a hammer, too ignorant to know better, dangerous, needing guidance and discipline. The Europeans conquered by force and greedily, but they lost the moral debate forever. Kill the buffalo and you'll kill the Indians. Because remember, the buffalo was also was also a great and sacred emblem to the Indians in a way that how they got it and they followed through life, you know what I'm saying? And they also egged them on when the times was hard. When you get down, they really, I mean, they didn't just kill them to kill them all. You know, they take a buffalo with kindness and with respect. You know, to aid on their adventure, and then use them to aid, with respect. You know, to get them through that winter, get the family through the winter. You know, they try to use that every part of the body because they look at it as an ancestor with respect. But these foreigners came over here and just try to just bring that hunting and kill everything and just it's so low, bro. So low, so low. No respect, but respect in a way that they write in their own perspectives because they have a free will, but their willpower is going the other way. I don't like that. I don't like that, and that's why I'm trying to break the people up because there's a lot of things that I don't like that people do that I did. It's not that I don't like it. It's that I know that there's a better you that you can be. So it's not that I don't like it. It's just like, damn, I want to see the better you. I want you to see the better you. You see what I'm saying? So it depends how you take it. But I ain't judging. You know what I'm saying? Is it judging? Do you have to judge to show one that's better? You know that one could be better. Not by not being competitive, but a better you. To me, that's love. But let us put our mind together, you know what I'm saying? We can make our children a sitting bull, woo, woo. The French and the Indian War, aka the 30 years of the European, how they made it seem like the American War and made it the French War and Indian War is an extension of the 30-year European War. You know, just read it right here. Like this is it right here. This is real shit right here. This ain't a game. It's about the Parliament, 1776. You know what that is? Down there coming up. It's so crazy, y'all. We want absolute control of the land jurisdiction. And now we're getting back to the land jurisdiction where I spoke to you. Because now every American has more civil authority of the land than the entire federal government. And you're like, how is that? Because the sea is now bestowed upon the land through our free will. And the deceivement. Deceive is all fraud. You know what I'm saying? But we going to skip through this a little bit, even though it got a lot of information in here. The jurisdiction was split. Well, let me read this. It's kind of important. So as a result of the American Revolution, the Americans got control of the land jurisdiction, but the Brits retained control of the high seas and navigable inlays of the waterways. The jurisdictions were split, and this was created need to set up two separate nation trusts and created two separate nations with different kinds of citizens all living under one roof from the start. So this is the division. This is the public and private as well as the Caesar and God, or you could look at it as the debtor ledger or the creditor ledger, depending on what ledger you are. Are you a money lender? Are you a creditor? Or are you a debtor? So it depends what jurisdiction that you're in, how you're going to conduct what side you're operating on. And this is another thing about banking as well as everyday life in the courts. When people are getting arrested, this information goes everything because the courts are banking. It was under Roman statute, but no longer since Trump passed the executive order on June 11th that we're no longer under Roman statutes under international criminal courts. You can look it up yourself. He just passed that. So these ways that I'm explaining now, it's kind of, that's what everything about the shutting down is no longer being under this fraud shit and everything's coming to the light. But for me, I got to bring it back through this transit that we're going to and bring it and explain everything of how everything started to come now. You know what I'm saying? Because it's still going to need some information in the near future, in the new world, with the new earth, with the new body. who you are, who they are, and what they are. There's American state citizens, all living people, all have natural and unalienable rights. We all have beneficial interests in the land and resources and guaranteed limited republic style of government, all who are protected by national trust, indentures, international treaties, and commerce agreements. All have more civil authority on the land than the entire federal government. Remember, the people, the Constitution is not for the people. It is the Constitution for the United States, not of the United States. That is they created trying to make a fake one, you know what I'm saying? But the original ones still are intact, and it's for the United States. It's not for you. You have unalienable rights. All your rights is not instructed in the Constitution. All right, the Constitution is to protect certain things of the people, but it's instructed to keep the government intact and not in fraudulent. But now it's been hijacked by all these foreigners and liberals, and that's why it was separate in three branches, and let you know, so it won't be fraudulent. And now it's pretty much back to the legislative. You know what I'm saying? We're back to the republic, y'all. It's going down. It's going down. So we're coming back to the land jurisdiction, and what I said about the executive order about the Roman statutes. Well, that's it. Well, right here, most people, you're not American state citizens. All right. That means I'm on the land. I'm an American state citizen. I'm not a U.S. citizen. I don't have a president. I don't support Trump, but I support the things that he's doing because it's giving the power back to the people, to the land. But now life is going to be easier for others, and people's now going to get. Now we was all beneficiaries of certain property that the government had stolen from us that now we're going to be receiving. Because now we just went through the thing of Jubilee and the Passover. This is all spiritual things that's going on right now, y'all. But now, United States citizen, the C jurisdiction. This is what a lot of people are. But the C jurisdiction, because some people are born on like federal territories and things, so you could also be living right here, as you say, federal enclaves or corporations have only civil rights, which are privileged. So it just depends how you conduct it, because you can also be both. It's like the Matrix. You can tap in and out. But this is one of the main important ones. The U.S. corporate citizen debt slave, all right? So you got the U.S. corporate debt slave, a U.S. citizen, and that's what a lot of people say you are. You will say you're a U.S. citizen, right? But then they got a Negro one. It was also considered a Negro. You know what I'm saying? It was also considered a Negro because when the Emancipation Proclamation came out, when Lincoln, a lot of people think Lincoln created freedom, freed the slaves. He didn't free the slaves. He actually freed the slaves from a little cage to a bigger cage, and the slaves had failed to the illusion because they had more space and more freedoms and things that what they was able to do, that they thought they were free. But in all reality, they released them to go into another cage, which is a United States citizen and are a debtor slave, and basically become collateral or a surety to the bond which they registered to the government name. And we're sitting here saying voluntarily that we're a United States citizen, which a U.S. citizen is basically a citizen of Washington, D.C., which is a 10 by 10 square radius in Washington, D.C., which is his own little territory. You know what I'm saying? And it is. I'm gonna bring that code up. I just haven't, I should have had it ready right now, but I haven't seen that in a minute. That's really put up. That's in the beginning. That's in the beginning stage, about almost like 2016. These are the beginning stages. I'm doing this for y'all right here because I know all this, but I can always go back and learn and refresh. So I'm also teaching myself. So I respect and I appreciate y'all because I'm coming out doing it for y'all as well as for myself. You know what I'm saying? We keeping each other motivated. That's how we do. But back to this. Are you a U.S. slave? So I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you're a slave. You're a slave. You're a corporate citizen. You're an asset to a corporate, and they did it by you leasing the government name. Now, do I blame you for being a debt slave? No, because I was a slave, and I did not know. But now, since I know, I'm trying to come back and let you guys know. And yes, I'm not trying to. like there's nothing for me to say but to do what I'm doing. And it's like, how long can I been doing this? I got off the internet, I stopped doing all that, so now like, I came to the YouTube. Like, I gotta let the other people know. It's like I'm coming out to the. I came to my family, I came to the closer people to try to do. They wasn't really listening like that, so I went out to, now I gotta come out to the Gentiles. You know what I'm saying? To the people outside of me and let them in with the information and knowledge, because there's more people out there that can accept and have and accept the love. For real, y'all. And these citizens are debt slaves with no rights, with no legal standing, enslaved by perpetual debt. By perpetual debt. From the very beginning of the American story, there were three kinds of U.S. citizens: the land jurisdiction, several states, sea jurisdiction, operating United States of America. The business organization doing business as the United States, charging with supply 19 government services and federal government supply to the states. It should not surprise us then that there have always been three kinds of citizenship involved. The land jurisdiction, always one kind of citizenship and state citizenship. The sea jurisdiction, known as the federal jurisdiction, allows the dual citizenship, a person in a citizenship United States, a U.S. citizen of the state. Yeah, there's all, I know you might be confused because there's all these type of citizenships, and they do it for that purpose. They do it for this. They do it for that purpose, and it's the Negro citizenship. And that goes back to that story of the Mandel when they said register, and it was about the black people. Well, it became more than just race because it was making so much money in the corporate, because it went commercial, that they even enslaved all people. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about race. It's more about money to them. And they use more of the racial as a game to keep us divided from figuring it out, and to also come together, because when we come together, they will be though done because we fund them. It's coming out of their mouth. It's coming out of their laws. We constructed them. It's a constitution for the United States for them, not for us. We have unalienable rights, and Trump is trying to give us our rights. Well, he basically already did, but he did half of it. We got to go back and do it, and I'm going to show you the way. And this is the case. You can look all this up, y'all, regarding the citizen of case shit, Hale versus Hinkle. This is a good case. It has a lot of stuff that people use in this line of work that I'm conducting myself in. Corporate, federal citizen, state citizenship. So this has nothing to do. This one has all its rights. These people, it could be, he's getting taxed with the bill, and the corporate is slave. So you're basically the lamb. You're basically the sacrificial lamb that they're using. And when we go to jail, those bonds are getting traded. What the Bible say? That who holds debt to someone, if he cannot pay, he shall work labor. And they send us to jail because they charge us, and we've saying like, if we're getting charged, they're charging you. Charge means a bill. They're charging you for something. So if you don't have the money, then they're going to use your body as collateral for surety to make sure the deal goes right. It's like, okay, I committed a burglary. Oh, that's 2 years. Well, you're going to give you halftime, and within that halftime, if you do good, but then we'll give you some slack. But if you do the whole 2 years, you basically gave them that much money on the market for 2 years. So the bond that was created, they have that much plus interest, but you did not see it because you're a debtor slave, and you're not a creditor, so you're not going to see the principal and the interest. It's all banking, y'all. And this is a judge spill the beans. This is all shit, bro. Look at this shit up, bro. This is all case. This is all case right here, y'all. All case. Americans elect United States citizen votes. It's getting kind of lit, man, I gotta get up at 7 for real. But we gonna get back to this. So we on page 51. Well, we say moving on. We on page moving on because it gets deeper than this, yo. This is just very, very, very little. And what is this? I guess I could do this for the next one too. This is get down to promissory notes and things, y'all. This go down to promissory notes and things of that nature. That we're gonna get into the banking aspect of the birth certificate and going back from the beginning, y'all, of assets and shit. How to free yourself from that. Those are kings. Kings, right? You do it, but you have to learn how to secure it. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn how to secure the transaction. We finna teach y'all banking, y'all. We finna teach you how to love. We finna teach you how to love. I'm gonna show y'all this: master and servant. Such term has been replaced by employer and employee. Employer and employee. So if you're an employee, you're a servant, according to Black's Law Dictionary 5th and 6th. And I do have those if you want to see them. Let me see. Let me look it up. Let me see if that's accurate before I just be on here. Feel me? Let me see if that's on here. It said 4th and 5th. I think it's or 5th usually. Oh, I didn't know 4, so 5th and 6th. Oops. Fifth. Master servant. Let me see this shit, bruh. Master. Master. Yeah, y'all. What y'all thinking? Y'all cool? I know y'all mind must be like tripping. Master, a principal who employs another to perform a service and a principal who employs another to perform service in affairs who controls or has right to control physical conduct or other in performance of the service. Remember, you always have to perform to get a service. You know what I mean? You always got to get perform. They always want to perform. You can make a performance bond. You know, they always want to have you perform. You know, get that energy. You know, transfer that utility into them funds of the service. Restatement secondary. Master is one standing in another in such relation that he only controls the result of the work of that of another, but also in the direct manner in which such work shall be done. And this is court cases, y'all. Right here. Look the court cases up too. This go deep, and they got hell of them. They got multiple definitions. So look, master servant as well. That was just master. This is the actual definition for master servant. The relation of a master servant exists where one person or for pay or other valuable consideration into the service for another devotes him to his personal labor. Devotes to him his personal labor. You know what devote? You devote to him your personal labor for an agreed period. The relation exists where the employer has the right to select an employee, the power to remove and discharge. Discharge, these are banking words. You know, discharge. You could discharge debt. You could discharge an asset. You could discharge all kind of shit. Discharge trash. You could discharge all that. That's what they do to us. And the right to direct both what work shall be done and the manner in which shall be done. Now, ain't nothing wrong with it. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. All right. But what I'm bringing to the table is to show that there's more to it, and for you, that you're more than that. But there's also gonna just be that. You see what I'm saying? But you are that and more in one time. So I don't want nobody to feel like one's feeling like one's better than another. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not what I'm getting at all. I just want to bring to the limelight that you could be more than what you already are. But at the same time, you are more than that at this living time. You just got to bring that out of you. You got to bring that own desire, that own thought form to bring you up. But I'm basically done with this teaching right now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pretty much gonna get up out of here, spark this blunt a little bit, and give a little bit perspective on this. You know what I mean? It is 1:40. 1:40, y'all. I can do this all. To be honest, I don't really want to go to sleep, but I gotta get up early. I've been up since I ate something this morning. Watered the garden. I got a garden in the back. You know what I'm saying? If y'all don't know, got corn, squash. We got the pumpkins, the melon, the berries, the sunflowers. I got a lot of things back there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of life. I don't want to disrespect it by calling them things. That's my birth certificate. My birth certificate is considered a thing as well. You know what I'm saying? But how y'all feel about it? You know, let me know in the comments. You know, like, subscribe, You know, this I'm just here to teach you. You know, here to accept teaching from you as well. You know, I'm here to learn. You know what I mean, as well as give out knowledge. You know what I mean, because we all learn from each other. You know, it's respect over here, for real. We need to come together, y'all. We need to come together as a community, as one, as love. As long as you bleed red, then I could be cool. As long as you a steward of the earth, then I could be cool. As long as you can conduct yourself in a matter of self-respect, then I could be cool. We could be chilling. As long as our ships are going the same path, then I could be cool. But as soon as it start going the other way, then I gotta cut them ties. Because if not, you're gonna start pulling me that way. Because your vibration is gonna start lowering and it's gonna be higher mass and dense. And I'm gonna be like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to cut it. And as soon as I cut it, I'm gonna send back, I'm gonna get that level back out right. But but the moral of this thing, man, is to get back to y'all, man, this is really saving souls. Like you really saving your soul and gaining claim and perfecting a security interest in a collateral, which is your birth certificate. You know what I'm saying? And you want to perfect it to get your name back and your title back and your ownership of your title. You know, get that little piece of soul that they took and put it and held it in the Vatican and did all the extra stuff. You know, because it gets to a spiritual sense, and I know when I talk that spiritual stuff, don't look at it as a religious context because that's not what I'm putting in a religious context because that's just another esoteric pill, just another illusion to keep one from breaking through. You know what I'm saying? Just to break one through, and and my perspective of life is like dramatically changed, like from like I died many times in a perspective of a mindset of how can one, like the parable of Nicodemus, like when he touched Jesus, like how can one be reborn, when Jesus was like one must be reborn again to see the kingdom, to enter the kingdom of heaven. And Nicodemus was like, how shall one enter the kingdom of heaven? I said, how can one be reborn again? Shall one be reborn of his mother's womb? And Jesus replied and said, no. You know what I'm saying? He said, what did he say? He said, no. He said, no, one shall be reborn of the water. One shall be reborn of the water and spirit, if I'm not mistaken. Check it up, check it up. Y'all gonna have to check it up. But in regards to that, it's like you gotta be reborn in mind. You don't gotta be born through the womb. You gotta be reborn in the way of thoughts. Because thoughts, thoughts create different vibrations within your spectrum because it holds mass and it holds weight, and it could bring you down or it could bring you up. It'll lower you in a higher realm. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just speaking this ism. You know what I'm saying? You know, a couple people know what that ism is. You know what I'm saying? If you know, then you click. But it's good, y'all. It's Shock with the Facts. I'm pretty much finna get up out of here, bro. It was love tuning in with y'all. Much appreciated. Hit that like button, subscribe, share, do whatever you need to do. If you don't do it, it's good too. There's two sides to everything, a left and a right, and up and a down, an in and an out. There's love and a hate. But within all that, love conquer all. And I love y'all all. Tune in.